All right, aloha and welcome to Introduction to Xcode. And this is checklist number 1. So, first, what we're going to do is we're going to be opening up Xcode. So let me X out here. And your Xcode should actually be located on your dock. If it's not here, then you want to go down to your Finder window. You want to go to Applications, and then you'll find Xcode there. So you can double click on that and that'll open up. So let's go back to our dock. We're going to open up Xcode and we're going to create a new project. All right. And when Xcode opens up, you want to make sure that you're under iOS, that application is grayed in, and then we're going to create a single view application and we're going to hit next. Here is where you put the product name. Make sure you have a organization name, a organization identifier. The language that we're going to be using is Objective-C. Make sure it's set to iPhone for device. And it's not going to highlight next until I have something in here. So let's just do Intro to Xcode. And we're going to hit next. And you are able to save your project wherever you need to. In this course, I'm going to ask you guys to save everything to the desktop. There's a couple ways to access the desktop. You can access it up here. You can also access it down here. So, and then we're going to create. And now our project is on our desktop. So I'm going to show you guys that it's there. And we named it Intro to Xcode. And that is our Xcode project in the folder. All right, so where we're going to start today is I want you guys to get familiar with Xcode. So the first thing I want you guys to do is take time to hover over each of the buttons. And what I mean by hover over each of the buttons is when you hover over it, a few seconds later, it should pop up what folder you're in. So show the Find Navigator. So this is the Find Navigator. This is the Issue Navigator. This is the Test Navigator. Okay. This is the Project Navigator, which is probably one of the most important panels that you guys are going to be working in. So take time to hover over everything. This is where you build and run your current scheme. You can stop running your scheme. So I'm not going to go over in this video everything, all the buttons, but I want you guys to take time on your own to do it. Standard editor, assistant editor, these two buttons are going to be tremendously important in this session. So definitely know where the standard editor is and definitely know where the assistant editor is. These are also really important if you want more room on your screen. So if you see, this actually hides or shows the navigator. So now I can collapse the navigator and now I have a little bit more room here. Or I can bring it back into view and so on and so forth. You can actually collapse the utility area. Okay, so if you hover over any, like I said, if you have any questions and you don't know where something is, definitely search for it on your own because you will eventually find it. The object library is really important. So there's a few that I'm going to go over right now so you guys know. Okay, so like I said, this is the Project Navigator. Here are all your files. Okay, so make sure you know how to access your files. If your files aren't showing, it might mean because your folders collapsed. So this is where all our project files are going to be. It's going to be an intro to Xcode. Okay. And you'll notice I have an app delegate file, I have my view controller file, I have my main.storyboard. Okay, I'm going to point out the utilities panel. Okay, This is the utilities panel. This is a very, very important area. The object library is right here. This is the objects library. Let me point out the attributes inspector. So I'm going to go into main.storyboard. I'm going to highlight that, and now we got the attributes inspector. Okay, so I selected the view controller, and then I opened up the attributes inspector. Very important. Here's the identity inspector. And viewcontroller.m file is a very, very important file. This viewcontroller.m file is associated with this view controller. Okay, so this is a view controller, and its associated files are viewcontroller.h, viewcontroller.m. Okay, so when I refer to the .m file, I mean the viewcontroller.m file, or whatever you name that view controller. This is going to make sense a little bit later. Okay, so main storyboard. This is our storyboard here. If I say to select the view controller or the VC, that means that you just click in this upper area and it is highlighted in blue. Okay, it's outlined in blue. You can zoom in and zoom out on the storyboard, and it's just, you want to make sure you're in the white space, and you're going to double click, it makes it smaller, or you're going to enlarge it to make it bigger. Okay, if we want to drag and drop anything, so this is our objects library. If I want to drag and drop a label on here, you can't drag and drop when it's zoomed out. Okay, so when it's small like this, you're not able to drag in an element. You actually have to zoom in. Okay, and then I can drag a label in there, right? Moving around in storyboard, so we don't have mice for the laptops, so you're gonna have to get used to using double fingers to move around. Okay, moving up and moving side to side. And you can move your view controller around by clicking on it and moving it around. Okay, or you can zoom out and you can move things around. Running the iOS simulator. Anytime I say run your app or run the simulator, it's this play button up here. If you'd like to use the keyboard shortcut, it's Command R. Okay, so let's run the app. And let's see what we come up with. Okay, so it looks very similar to what we have. The reason why your label is all the way on this side right now is because we haven't sized this in particular for a certain iPhone size. Okay, now anytime you want to quit the simulator, you want to make sure that it says iOS simulator up here, and you want to hit Command Q. Okay, and now we're back to our Xcode project. Just a few more things left here for this video, and then saving our Xcode project. So file, save. Okay, file, save. We've just saved our Xcode project. If you want to use the keyboard shortcut, it's Command S. Okay, Command S. And if you're ready to close your project, you go to File, Close Project, and that's it. All right, that's it for Introduction to Xcode, and you're now done with your checklist number 1. Aloha.